Minister of International Cooperation Rania Mashad met with Christian Berger, European Union Ambassador in Cairo, to look into the progress made through joint cooperation within the framework of the strategic partnership between Egypt and the EU. They also discussed future areas of cooperation within the 2021-2027 strategy, which is also within the framework of the Government of Egypt's National Development Agenda. It's worth mentioning that last February, the European Commission inaugurated the European Union's Neighbourhood, Development and International Cooperation Instrument for the period between 2021 to 2027. The instrument aims to stimulate long-term social and economic recovery in the countries that are neighbouring Europe through mobilizing private and public investment in the next decade. The new plan focuses on 5 key areas: human development, resilience and prosperity to support resilient sustainable economies, peace, security and helping countries address their challenges, migration and mobility to address challenges of forced displacement and irregular migration, environment, energy and climate change to protect natural resources and promote green growth. El-Mashad affirmed that the objectives of the EU's NDICI and the strategy of the Ministry of International Cooperation are in line with the Government of Egypt's development priorities with regards to the transformation towards a green economy, renewable energy, sustainable infrastructure, digital transformation, gender equality, healthcare, social safety nets and education. Christian Berger, the ambassador of the European Union in Cairo, stated that the bilateral cooperation between the EU and Egypt is important in supporting the state's efforts to achieve sustainable development. He applauded the role of the Ministry of International Cooperation in coordinating with government entities that are benefiting from the development agreements in order to accelerate the pace of implementing the development projects.
Yes, welcome back, and back to you, Dr. Naguib. And a second partner to Egypt is the EU. And there has been always a kind of renew to such partnership. This time it was the 2021-2027 strategy that was put by Minister of International Cooperation Rania Al-Mashad in her meeting with the European Union Ambassador to Cairo. And it's focused on several key areas. First, let me take, how do you view the Egyptian-European Union partnership and how strategic it is, as well as that of the US?
The most recent numbers that I have is that the Europe or the EU is the first, in terms of volume, trade partner to Egypt. And then comes other countries, including the US and so on. So it's a very strong partner. But there is also a special relationship or nature of this cooperation. It's not only based on volume, but it's also based on the vicinity and the neighborhood-like relationship between Egypt and Europe, not only the southern or the Mediterranean countries, but also the other countries as well. And that's why in the report and in the discussion, you would hear also a very important topic. One of the areas is the forced migration and illegal immigration and so on. One of the hottest topics and concerns of Europe that Egypt, alhamdulillah, has placed a priority on it and made a good success on that. So Europe is a very strategic partner to Egypt. As we are delving into this kind of discussion, I want to highlight a good aspect of our correlation and of matters together and the nature of this cooperation. The President speaks with a partner and with allies and with industry and the representatives themselves, but then ministerial level follows up. I'm not talking only about Europe, I'm talking in general. So the strategies are being translated into kind of action plans. I have to share with you the fact that I was involved with the EU for a long time into technical education some 15, 20 years ago, and there were always the comment that we have very good strategies, but then we don't translate them into kind of action plans. EU, when they cooperate with Egypt, the way or the method of cooperation is that the EU, before we used to have the cooperation with the Germans alone, the French and so on, no, but the EU has a strategy, and this strategy, and that's good really partnership, is being mapped between the priorities of the EU and the priorities of Egypt as a whole, because if you are in the place of a taxpayer in Europe, do you want to see a good outcome for this kind of cooperation, especially in this kind of tight and challenging economic situations? So the mapping and the kind of let's say, matching between the priorities is the key point in this regard. Also, one thing that not to be ignored, the human aspect of that. It's not just mere numbers and the growth and investment and unemployment. These are givens. But also talking about the human aspect, the equality, the gender aspect, the combating the corruption, and so on. These are human and in-depth aspect that the EU is placing an importance in cooperation with Egypt. One last thing I want to highlight here is that Egypt is also a reference country for the EU when it cooperates, meaning that, for example, if the EU is going to be cooperating with another country in the region or elsewhere, they would like to use a good example of this kind of cooperation to first of all, to get their political support in their own countries to this kind of cooperation, as well as to provide better for their partners and allies. A hint I would like to say in your distinguished show here and debate is that Europe is going greener and greener, not only in the way they behave, but politically. Those who follow what's going on in Europe, the green parties, I'm not talking about one particular country, but if you talk about Germany, for example, there is the green bloc is number 2 now on the political map in Germany, and is anticipated to grow. Not and there is some kind of, let's say, slowing down of other political right wing or left wing and so on. So I'm talking about matching this political green power in the EU itself with our green aspiration for transforming our economy, our behavior, our action plan. And again, I would invite the viewers to glance through the Egypt Vision 2030, because much of what I'm saying is actually being put there as targets as well.
We're speaking here about how the 2030 Egyptian vision for sustainable development, in a way or another, paralleled with how the world is. Exactly.
And if you want to complete the scene, there is also the Vision of Africa 2063. So you compare all of that together.
Which is also part of Egypt's vision, because actually Egypt's vision is putting Africa as a priority.
Oh, big time. Big time. As a matter of fact, we would put a big question mark if it's not there. If, as I just said, or since, as I just said, we are the second or the first economy in Africa, and the third in population, not to mention the political power, the military power, the human power and investment in Africa. The Egypt biggest asset in Africa is not just its great geographic location or economy. It's the human factor. Our education, soft power, medication, until today, just as an example, much of the Egyptian industrialized medication is being very well marketed in Africa because it's very well received. So this kind of human kind of asset needs to be also invested upon, and that's why there is kind of harmony, and I hope it translates into some kind of good action plans. Before I leave this point, I want to say, somebody said a famous quote. They say, plans don't mean much or nothing, but planning is everything. Yes, we have plans, but planning and translating that into some kind of action plan with indicators, with deliverables, with ability to correct corrective actions. Of course, a big slump in the world economy and a big hiccup, if I may use this term, happened because of the COVID-19. Which economies use the word sustainability? Sustainable economy. Which economy can sustain and which economy will kind of diminish. And heaven forbid, if an economy goes down, and here comes the word resilience, how and when will pick up again and become strong again? And that's what we're talking about.
Resilience is part of this European Union's Neighborhood Development and International Cooperation Instrument. This was the one who was really meeting with Minister Mashat here, and they put 5 key areas to speak about. Part of it, or the second part of it, is, because we spoke about the human development, so resilience and prosperity to support resilience, sustainable economies. This is exactly what we were speaking about. The third point is peace, security, and helping countries address the challenges. And how important is that for any economy to sustain?
Let me take the second part of this, and it brings memories of discussions that I personally have taken part in years ago in my capacity, wherever I was, in terms of cooperation, former parliament, and so on. Whenever you talk to a partner for funding projects and so on, I'm sorry to say, the old-fashioned and the old, I don't want to use very negative words, is to say we would like this country or that country or this power, whatever, to provide us with money or with funds. This doesn't happen anymore like that. I assure you this. Always partners, they ask you to identify your priorities, what you need. Why should I provide you with something you don't need? But what I provide you with what you need, or when I do that, it has to match my own priority. And it has to match my own kind of capabilities, because it's also not wise that I supply you with something that I don't have, or I import and supply you with, and so on. Of course, these are very simple, although it happens very rarely in the economic world. But what I'm saying is the ability for the countries to identify their needs. And in my own view, there hasn't been a moment in our own modern history that I witnessed myself that the vision of our country has been clearer. And I recall very well, and I think you recall that the president one day said, I really know our problems very well. And he was speaking to me, he said, I know it like I see you here. I see it very clear, I see you here. But we need first the will, the determination, and the funds and the capability to do that. And that's where the real challenge is. It's not just the funds. Funds never make an economy grow unless there is a will and a good planning for that.
A will and a good planning and good climate for implementing this, which means the peace and security and part of the challenges of this, by the way, continent, not...
Exactly. I like that. You said the continent. When they are partnering with Egypt, peace and security and so on, are we talking about Egypt? Maybe partially, because Egypt is the stability of Egypt is very important for the world. But more importantly, in my view, for the EU, is the role that Egypt will play in let's say, silencing the gun, as this kind of initiative that's taking place in Africa that Egypt has spoken about before, and invited partners, even after Egypt delivered the leadership of the African Union to South Africa, and now it's with Congo. So these are all priorities that are very clear and needs the action and the cooperation of the African and the Arab partners.
As you said respectively here, that each country puts its own priority. So when Egypt focused its plan, it put one of its priorities is the peace and security and helping countries address the challenges. In terms of Egypt, when speaking to the big entities and part of the world, because Egypt is part of many of the world organizations and world bodies, it always put into consideration stability, peace, security, challenges, not just for the country, but also for all the countries around, whether we're speaking here about Africa, or whether we're speaking here about the Middle East. So how far, or how do you view this, and how the European Union take this as Egypt, the face or the representing face to Africa, to the Middle East, to the challenges that exist in these regions?
Okay.
In these regions.
Great question. Any instability in any country, heaven forbid, reflects directly into some kind of economic turbulences. If your partner, whether you sell to or you buy from, is undergoing some kind of these turbulences or irregularities or instability, whatever word you want to say, definitely it will impact you. So the modern world is keen to have a good degree of stability in worldwide in general, because it's not to the interest of anyone to have this kind of disturbance and some kind of instability worldwide. When the EU is talking about Egypt, about to this aspect, they are very keen, because there has, again, not been a time that Egypt facing the challenges from all over all its boundaries or borders. You have Libya is a challenging file, or you have the south and any instability happening in south, and I'm talking deep in Africa, not just the very south of us.
Yes.
The east, the Mediterranean region, and just as an example, the navigation in the Mediterranean, the gas and the resource, so on. So stabilizing this kind of atmosphere opens the door for the good European, because you talked at the very beginning correctly so about the investment, to attract this investment and to become sustained and to grow. And I'm very optimistic that we are on the right track. What we need to do is, in economic growth, it's not just to do something, it's to continue to do it and to sustain it for a long time.
Yes, unfortunately my time is out and I have really to end it here, but was so delighted, particularly with the last point. Dr. Mohamed Naguib, Abu Zeid Professor, the ASU, thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. And dear viewers, many thanks for watching. Tomorrow will be another important debate with another colleague. Good night.